Morning, guys. Thank you to Shafe and Backwoods for the video. No apologies are necessary in this regard, and I may have worded it a little strongly about saying that I have a dog in this fight. I think I more meant to say I certainly have potentially a different perspective than some of us in our group. I'm near sure of it, especially because our circle seems to be fairly, if we have to put a term to it, closer to conservatively leaning, and for understandable reasons. But I assure you, I've remained far from a fence on that topic. The only time to tell you, to give you an example of the only time that I've been close to a fence, and this was with Shafe, was when we were talking about Ted Kaczynski, and for whatever reason, because of either my family history with law enforcement, or my own lack of empathy, that rang different. I just didn't feel as if, with the Kaczynski thing, I didn't feel as if I was getting my point across in a way, no matter how many different ways that I reworded it. And that's the only time that I've really kind of had agitation. Everything else has been fine, and as a matter of fact, I mean, as we further went through the Kaczynski thing and it ran its course, I mean, we resolved that. And then later on, I just realized in myself, for whatever reason, I was caught in this cycle with you, Shafe, of like defaulting to being devil's advocate. And that's one way to do a conversation, but I don't think it didn't do anything to help evolve our friendship, which I feel it has. And I've gotten much more out of steel manning your approach and then working out from there. And so it is with this gender thing. And I do see where both sides are coming from in a way. While I don't, let's say, we'll make this right and left. The right side is boys wear pants, girls wear dresses, girls have long hair, men wear hats, a woman has her head covered, like women must dress like Bonnet Mom. And then on the left is, ooh, what is that? Is that a boy? Is that a girl? The room is so smoky. Ooh, I think I touched a pee-pee, or was that a vagina? I don't know. Ooh, I just put my pee-pee in something. Was it a butt? Was it a vag? I don't know. Ooh, that's all the way on the left. Or maybe even further on the left is the asexual, where a person has zero attraction. Hell, I don't know. Couple of big things that I revolve around. One is, and this is going to sound a little crazy, if these are the end times, then the dragon has been let loose upon the earth. And as such, the devil's greatest trick isn't a bald-faced lie. It's a warpage of the truth. It's a warpage of the facts. It's a twisting of the facts. So, as a result, too, though, Satan is anti-human. The root cause of his fall from grace was his jealousy and resentment to how God felt towards man. So, it's an anti-human movement. What is more anti-human than something that blocks or inhibits procreation? You know, how does a species meet its extinction? Now, if you have a traditional man with a traditional woman, and if every time they make love, it's a love embrace and procreation is the result, that is very pro-human, right? I'm just idealizing here on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, take homosexuality, where it becomes impossible in a paired relationship in the human species for one sex male and another sex male to have a child. Now, the workaround is when you have somebody else have a baby for you, and it's like an adoption thing, or say a female and female, one of the females is impregnated by someone else or some other process, right? I get that. However, that in my experience, those couples, they don't exactly have a house full of kids. I know traditional husbands and wives that have like 4 and 5 children. So even if you are doing that method of artificial insemination or elective adoption, I don't see the ratio of 2 even maintaining 2. The people that I know that have done those things, that I personally know, it's typically 1. It's typically a single, or at max a 2. It's not 3. It's not multiplying. So as a result, it's an anti-human process. Now, let's talk about this new name, gender identity community. I believe the whole getting a new name, waking up to this gender community is a twisted version of Christianity, where, you know, you're born again, your old life has passed away, and now you have a new name, now you have acceptance in this community. You know, you'll now refer to me as Mr. Whiskers in Shafe's case. In my case, it's Mrs. Whiskers, and the reason why I'm going to be Mrs. Whiskers is because I've always wanted to have kittens. But I digress. So imagine it like a warped version of Christianity, a warped version of being born again, the ultimate warpage of God's gift of grace in a way. If we follow my theory, if we subscribe to my theory and take it as such. How do you fight against that? You know, the Bible talks about there's certain things, certain demons that can only be ejected with prayer. You know, after Pentecost, when there were, maybe it was before Pentecost, I think Jesus was still upon the earth. And like Peter and some of the other disciples were casting out demons, and there was some that they didn't have the ability to cast out. And Jesus specified to them, no, this particular one can only be through prayer. What I personally do, what I tell my daughter, on a personal note, where you guys mentioned hoping that you didn't take any offense, I appreciate the the gentlemanly, you know, hat in hand in that. I really do, and I respect that. And as a result, you know, it just further reinforces our friendship. But just like what you said, Shafe, it's something to where you have a thicker skin about it. Like you really work at what doesn't matter. Because if something is in point of fact untrue, you know, what makes it more true, or what in another person's perception changes things for me. I have two choices, right? As a parent, you could say, no, I don't want that stuff in my house. You can say, get out of here. You're no child of mine. Or you do what you have to do to stay in a position of guidance. And what I tell my daughter is that I want her to be happy, but I insist that she never stop seeking the truth. I have faith in the truth, and I have enough faith in God, and I've seen enough things in God's mighty power. From my sister-in-law going from a Wicca lifestyle to now being a professing Christian, all the way down to your circumstance, Shafe. Like, you being... I can't wrap my worldly mind around how wonderful God is, in your case, Shafe, that as someone who used to be an evangelical Christian, like I even did outreach and all kinds of other things, you being raised up in the church, you being, if you'll pardon the compliment, apparently an above average intelligence person, you know, somebody comes up to you with Jesus loves you, you could have 10 reasons why out of the Bible that you disagreed. It's only through God that a heart like that was changed, and that's a beautiful thing. That witnesses to me that God's power is mighty, and I can have faith in that. So in the meantime, what do I do? Well, I've had a couple of cases to where my daughter's friends have actually been in what they thought were dangerous situations, and we have provided a roof over their heads. I mean, these are people, you know, however it is they feel. And the lies that are embedded in these people's mind, it's pretty entrenched. Some of the stuff with the LGBTQIA2T plus community, I believe that's the actual term now. There are pundits on TikTok that bang the gong of, oh, these people want us dead, they want to kill us. You know, they take a spoonful of what happens in the Middle East, put it with a spoonful of what a Republican says over here, mix it up, and then pour it out, and everybody laps it up on the Discord server. And that's how this shit happens in their echo chamber, similar to the echo chamber that's on the right hand side, and similar to when these echo chambers first began to be fortified in 2011. But I'm good, guys. I appreciate it. There's an element in my heart, you know, being 50 now, there's an element in my heart that you get to a certain age, and my friends are having grandchildren now. And I see that heart, and I see that love, and you know, there was an element of, oh my goodness, I'm not going to get to have that traditionally, you know. But so much for that woe is me shit. you know. But what my goal for myself is, there was a guy, man, he was 95 years old, a customer of mine. This was a couple years ago. And he's like, well, doctor says this is, I'm not going to live out the year. And I said to him, man, I can't imagine that. I don't, I can't imagine that. And this man looks me in the eye and says, of course not, man. And you shouldn't. Because, I've lived my life. I've seen things. I've done things. I've experienced things. You're in the position that you still have things to do. So it's the course. And my only thought for myself is I want to be in those positions. I want to feel like I've ran my race, had my course through it. And if I can be so fortunate as to potentially be a source of truth, it's important for me to be in position to offer that truth or to share that experience with these people. Because we're not going to get anywhere on this without reaching across the aisle, and we're being discouraged from reaching across the aisle, and to me that situation is just evil. I do get the rah-rah, love it or leave it, but I've also seen circumstances to where people have had that rah-rah, love it or leave it statism turned on them, manipulated them to the point to where you're actually repulsing, disregarding this other element of the community, and furthering in its way this anti-human approach. So that's my take on it. Appreciate the discussion, and it's all still very inspiring for me. So y'all take care, and more to come.